And I want to mention this as well. When it comes to absurdity and stories where your jaw hits the deck, this one is right up there. The community sentence that's been handed down to a man who raped a 13-year-old schoolgirl has been described as extraordinary by a leading KC. Now, he was 17 at the time of the offence. That's still rape. That should not be a mitigating circumstance and would never have previously been a mitigating circumstance. Sean Hogg is now 21. He attacked the girl in Midlothian in Scotland on various occasions in 2018. The judge, Lord Lake, said that if these offences had been committed by an adult over 25, Hogg would have received a jail sentence of 4 or 5 years. And that in itself I find disturbing, that it would only have been 4 or 5 years. Tommy Ross, KC, said the 270-hour community sentence was very unusual. Hogg's punishment has also been condemned by Rape Crisis Scotland, who said it was inexplicable. Well, it's not actually inexplicable at all. See the SNP for details. If you want to see a pack of charlatans in charge of things, then there is no greater recent example than this. And there are many on the list, by the way. This is the latest. New guidelines for sentencing under 25s were introduced in Scotland in January 2022 under the SNP. They made rehabilitation rather than punishment a primary consideration, recommending an individualistic approach taking into account life experiences. This is the kind of madness that has enveloped our world. It permeates all over the darn show. In England, in Scotland, Ireland, wherever it happens to be, it's everywhere, all right? But once in a while, that malaise takes a far more sinister turn, and this is a great example of it taking a sinister turn. A 13-year-old girl has been raped. The perpetrator got a community service, non-custodial community sentence for rape on the basis that the new guidelines set out under the Scottish National Party, and we know that the main man over there has had many connections in this area as well, because that was a former brief of his. New guidelines say rehabilitation rather than punishment, because he's not over 25. So is that the new deal in Scotland? That you can commit rape and get away with it if you're under the age of 25? You have to wonder what kind of perverted nonsense is going on in the minds of the legislators, the MPs, the people in charge, those who sit there in Holyrood, those who sit there at big heady meetings with the Scottish National Party, cooking up ideas, cooking up initiatives for justice. Justice for who? Who is this justice for? Is it justice for a 13-year-old girl? It might feel like justice to this character, this rapist that has got away with it, essentially. Sean Hogg now walking free because he hasn't gone to jail for the crime of rape. But in what world do you not go to jail for a crime of rape? If he was 11 years old, he should be going to jail of some kind for the crime of rape. Non-custodial sentences do not play a part in this conversation. They are not part of this conversation. Non-custodial sentences have their uses, they have their purposes. The crime of rape is not at any demonstrable, intelligent, legal way ever applicable in a rape case. I'm telling you now that whoever put their name to this bill that has allowed judges now to make these extraordinary, disgraceful, retrograde decisions about the act of rape needs to step down sharpish. Nobody will, of course, because nobody ever does. That's the kind of weird world we live in. In fact, you know what happens? They double down. If you were to contact the Justice Secretary in Scotland, we know who that used to be, if you were to contact the SNP head office, if you were to contact Nicola Sturgeon, for this happened under her watch, do you know what they'd find? One of those new establishment ways of defending this. They would explain why this is okay, in the same way they tried to explain why it was okay to send a man who raped 2 women to a woman's jail. They reverted on that after pressure. But these are the people that would have defended that. These are the people that would have defended that. The kind of people that can't tell you what a definition of a woman is. And we've got those lurking all over the country. It's the same twisted mentality. It's pervasive. It's going nowhere. And I don't see any real politician challenging it. Where is the outcry over this? A man has raped a 13-year-old and he's walking free because he got a non-custodial sentence. Could there be anyone with a scintilla of sense in whatever department you lurk, whatever area of life you come from, whatever gender you happen to be, that could defend not sending a rapist to jail? The judge said it himself. If this person was over 20... So if you're 24 and you commit a rape, it's possible you're not going to go to jail under these sentencing guidelines introduced just over a year ago in Scotland. We often talk and use phrases like the world's gone mad, it's upside down, it's topsy-turvy, it's Alice in Wonderland-like existence. It absolutely is. Make no mistake about it. When you can read a story like that, I can scarcely believe the words coming out of my mouth here that a rapist has been given a non-custodial sentence because guidelines suggested rehabilitation is the primary consideration, not the last consideration, not after you've gone through everything and looked at all the mitigation. No, the primary consideration should be a rehabilitation order rather than a custodial sentence. That is all shades of wrong, and it's happening right now in this country. Over the border in Scotland, this is what the SNP will bring you. Stuff like this, madness like this.